Welcome to our Cheating Story channel. Grab a seat for this juicy story. Captain James Walker had always been a fighter. He had served his country with pride, leading his men through battles, risking his life to protect others. But nothing could have prepared him for the battle he would face at home. James grew up in a small town where patriotism ran deep. His father was a veteran, his grandfather before him had served in World War II, and from a young age, he knew he wanted to follow in their footsteps. Enlisting in the military right after high school, James quickly rose through the ranks. His leadership and bravery earned him the respect of his men, and by the time he was deployed to Afghanistan, he was already considered one of the best captains in his unit. Melissa had been his high school sweetheart, the love of his life. They had married young, just before his first deployment. She was beautiful, confident, and ambitious, with dreams of a lavish lifestyle. While James was on the battlefield, she pursued a career in fashion marketing, living in the city, attending high-end events, and enjoying the freedom that came with it. The explosion had taken everything from him: his mobility, his sense of self, and worst of all, his wife's love. When James woke up in the hospital, groggy and disoriented, the first thing he noticed was the absence. His legs were gone. The doctors tried to console him, telling him he was lucky to be alive. But when he turned to his wife, Melissa, for comfort, he saw something in her eyes he hadn't expected: disgust. "Melissa," he whispered, reaching for her hand. She hesitated before taking it, her grip loose and cold. She sighed heavily, looking away. "James, I don't know how to do this. I don't think I can." His heart pounded. "What do you mean? We're in this together." She shook her head. "No, James. I can't be your nurse for the rest of my life. I didn't sign up for this. I can't stay." The words hit harder than any bullet ever could. Melissa packed her bags and walked away, leaving James to rot in a hospital bed, abandoned when he needed her most. The divorce was swift. Melissa wasted no time moving on, leaving James with nothing but memories and pain. For months, he struggled. Depression consumed him, and he nearly gave up. He spent days staring at the ceiling, wondering if life was even worth it anymore. The visits from his military brothers were the only thing that kept him going. "You're stronger than this, James," his friend Sergeant Tom Caldwell told him one day. "Don't let her win. Don't let this define you. You're still a soldier, legs or no legs." Something inside him snapped. He refused to be a victim. He refused to let her betrayal define him. He pushed himself through agonizing physical therapy, refusing to let his body give up. He endured the pain, falling countless times, getting back up even when it felt impossible. Each step with his prosthetic legs was a victory, a silent defiance against the fate Melissa had written for him. James dedicated himself to recovery. He trained tirelessly, learning to use prosthetic legs, pushing his limits beyond what anyone thought possible. Soon, the world took notice. He started a business, helping other injured veterans rebuild their lives, giving them purpose and hope. His story inspired millions. His company flourished, turning him into a millionaire almost overnight. As the years passed, James built an empire. He launched rehabilitation centers, gave motivational speeches, and became an icon of resilience. His name was in magazines, and invitations to high-profile events flooded in. He was no longer the broken soldier Melissa had abandoned. He was a self-made man, stronger than ever. Then, one day, an unexpected message popped up on his phone. It was Melissa. "James. I made a mistake. I miss you. Can we meet? Please?" James smirked at the irony. He agreed to meet, out of curiosity more than anything. When she walked into his office, she looked different. Worn down. The sparkle in her eyes was gone. Life hadn't been kind to her. Her once pristine designer clothes were replaced with cheaper imitations, and the confidence she once carried was now masked by desperation. "James, you look amazing," she said, forcing a smile. "I've been thinking a lot about us. I was scared back then. I made the wrong choice. Can we start over?" James leaned back in his chair, studying her. He could see the desperation behind her words. He had once begged her to stay. Now, the tables had turned. He chuckled, shaking his head. Melissa, you left me when I was at my lowest. Now, you have to live with that choice. Her face crumbled. James, please, but he had already turned away, walking confidently on the legs she once deemed worthless. And as he left her behind, he knew he had won. Not out of revenge, but because he had built a life so full, so powerful, that he no longer needed her. Melissa watched him disappear, realization hitting her like a ton of bricks. She had let go of the best thing she ever had, and now, it was too late. James Walker had lost his legs. But he had gained something far greater: strength, success, and a future that no one could take from him. And that was the greatest victory of all. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like and share your thoughts in the comment.